I want the world
to hear. This is why. And it's something when I watched, and it all came from The Last Dance episode 10 when it was toward the end, and they went back to a clip to Michael Jordan when he said, I want to build up an organization similar to like what the Boston Celtics are, what the 76ers are, and then we all know what the Lakers tradition is. You know, all the great players built up their tradition of their organizations. Kareem, Magic. Kobe and Shaq continued the tradition, winning 3 together, 2 more for Kobe on his own. Bird continued the tradition with the Boston Celtics, winning 3 there. Jordan started a tradition in Chicago, 6 there. Tim Duncan, Spurs weren't even on the map until Tim Duncan got there. He built up that organization. So when I go back and I talk about these players and the top 5 players who not only built up organizations or helped continue the organization's tradition, a la Kobe, I go back and I ask myself, what has LeBron did to build up any organization from the ground?
What does that have to do with being one of the greatest of all time?
But that, when we talk about these great players, that the name the players that I said, they're all top flight players in the top 5 or top 10. Bill Russell built up the organization in Boston. Should get way more credit than we give him. And a lot of times he gets left out the conversation. So in saying that, Kareem, look at the names that I said, Kareem, Magic, Jordan, Tim Duncan, Kobe, Bird. These guys are all top 10 players who would either help build up their organization or continue the tradition. And
Paul, the one thing that has ever
from LeBron, he went and put together a team in Miami.
I think there's a lot of
he came back to Cleveland to put that team together. And then he went to the Lakers where a tradition has already been made and we don't know, you know, that's still to be continued. So in saying that, that's my argument.
Paul, you're talking about a great organization.
I mean, if you're
not talking about one
guy, just be a numbers guy.
I'm not for Paul. J. Rose said it. I mean, maybe Coogee used to be back in 30 years ago. Givenchy is in now, right? So back in the day, starter jackets used to be in. I used to love my team, but now kids follow individual players. Just because he didn't build up an organization, he got Cleveland the first chip they ever had in the history of the franchise. And by the way, who was the GM? I mean, like, who was the head coach for LeBron James? Who was his owner? Like, my thing, you're talking about Michael Jordan.
Who was Phil Jackson for Michael Jordan?
Wait, time out now. Time out now. At the end of the last day, Paul.
It's not the organization, it's the players.
You're tripping,
players
Paul.
make the coaches great.
At the end of the day, I understand that. I think there's fact on both ways. But you're telling me at the end of the last day, and Scottie Pippen said, man, as much as I hate it, Jerry Krause going to go down one of the greatest GMs of all time. Maybe the greatest GM of all time. So all I'm trying to do,
the reason why,
let me finish for a second. I'll let you talk.
Player of all time.
Yeah, he drafted him, Paul. He drafted him. That's a team. It took somebody.
That was a no-brainer.
Get your popcorn, Maria. Let him go.
I mean, he wasn't the first pick in the draft. It was a no-brainer, Paul.
Listen, dog. Some of these GMs.
It was a no-brainer. How come people got drafted over him, Paul? It wasn't a no-brainer.
The reason they didn't draft Jordan to Portland was because they had Clyde Drexler.
But hey, you got the number 1 pick. I don't care who I got. If it's a no-brainer, everybody should be able to figure it out then. So everybody should have drafted Michael Jordan. That's
everybody can't figure it out. Greg Oden was the number 1 pick.
That's exactly my point, Paul. You're making my point for me. It's an organization. It goes both ways, man. It ain't just like one player is the only thing that makes it happen. LeBron James wasn't surrounded by other great players. He had to go to a first-class organization in Miami to actually figure out what the standard of excellence was with Pat Riley and D. Wade and Mickey Harrison. Come on, man.
So who you blaming this on? What's your point?
I'm not blaming it on anything. I'm saying you don't need to make an organization great in order to be one of the greatest of all time. I don't have an obligation.
I didn't say he wasn't the greatest of all time. I did not say.
You just said he's not top 5 on your rank. That's the way this whole thing
top 5. You want to hear my top 5? You want to hear it again?
Sure.
You want to hear it again? Jordan.
Sure. Let me know.
Kareem, Russell. And you know who the 4th one is? Magic.
Who's the 5th?
Now you know who's in my top 5?
I'm not going to say nothing right now.
Kobe Bryant.
Come on.
Oh, that's my top 5. Argue with it.
No cut.